Hi, I'm Elijah Wood, and I'm doing the Wired autocomplete interview. Why is Elijah Wood hot? What? I didn't know that I was, and I don't know how to answer that question, but thanks. My parents? Have Daniel Radcliffe and Elijah Wood met? Yes. When we were doing ADR for one of the Lord of the Rings films, and they were shooting Prisoner of Azkaban, the third Harry Potter film, and we got to go visit the set. I met him then, but I don't know that I've met him since. But I certainly get asked if I am him a lot, which I find really amusing, and it doesn't bother me at all, seriously. Does Elijah Wood play Spider-Man? In the movie? No. I mean, I've played the video game. It's good. How did they make Elijah Wood small? In Lord of the Rings, I'm assuming. It was a variety of different things. So there would be an entire sequence that would be shot without us, and then we would, with a motion control camera, more often than not, we would then go onto a blue screen unit and sort of fit ourselves into that same shot. We'd be comped in. That was one way. We also had scale doubles, people who were about the height of hobbits, that would wear our outfits and also masks of our face, which was pretty disturbing. They were incredible, and they did a lot of our work for a lot of the wide stuff. Occasionally there was forced perspective that was used, so a good example of that would be Frodo and Gandalf on the cart in Bag End in the first film. Frodo jumps into the cart and they're sitting side by side. I was actually sitting slightly behind Ian McKellen, and Ian McKellen was sat slightly ahead of us. And the camera was placed in such a way that it looked like we were sitting side by side with him taller than I. You'd look at the monitor and we were sitting next to each other, and he was giant and I was small, which was pretty magical. It's a super old-fashioned trick that totally works now. And then there was like one sequence that we ended up abandoning this technology, but they made these sort of big people on stilts, but in like large human outfits, with like articulated fake hands and arms. And we only used it once. It proved to be effective in the background. If you see when they're trying to check into the Prancing Pony under the name Underhill, you see a few people walk by. Those are these sort of like people on stilts in giant outfits, essentially. And they ended up abandoning that. They didn't use it as much because it wasn't super practical. Anyway, it's a long answer. Multiple tools in that particular toolbox. Did Ian McKellen and Elijah Wood film scenes together? Yes. We shot all of our scenes together, so any time that the hobbits were with anyone that were larger than them, we would always be together. It's just occasionally we'd not be able to look each other in the eye like you would normally look. Sometimes we'd be on our knees to look small and we could interact, but we were always in scenes together. It's just in terms of how we would be placed in front of the camera to appear small or large. What was Elijah Wood's first movie? It was a tiny, tiny role in Back to the Future 2. There is a scene in the Cafe 80s, and there are two kids at the back of the Cafe 80s trying to play this like gunslinger game with a light gun. Michael J. Fox comes up and explains it to them, and then like shoots a bunch of things and does really well at the game. And the kids make fun of him because they're like, this is, wait, you have to use your hands? Anyway, that was the first thing I ever did. What does Elijah Wood look like now? What nationality is Elijah Wood? Boring American? I mean, there's heritage that goes way back, but my nationality is US. There's like a little bit of Danish in me, a little bit of English, but that goes way back. What does Elijah Wood eat? Oh, that's a difficult question to answer. I could say a lot of different things. Pizza is probably my favorite food. My girlfriend and I, we eat a fair amount of pizza. It's obsessive. I also really love frozen pizza. It's a little bit of a thing. And going to like new supermarkets that you've never been to and seeing new brands of frozen pizza that you've never seen before, you're like, I gotta give that a go. There are certain frozen pizza brands that I won't with, but man, I love a good frozen pizza. What did Elijah Wood keep from rings? I have the one ring. I have a pair of latex hobbit feet. They're in good shape. Sting, the sword. I have a slate from the films as well. Can Elijah Wood sing? I'm not tone deaf. but I don't think I can sing very well. I'm always pretty shy to sing karaoke and need a little lubrication in order to get the confidence to do it. I don't know. I've been told I can sing. I don't have a great deal of confidence in it. I did actually audition for Moulin Rouge, so I took singing lessons for that. And the audition consisted of me singing 2 songs. If there's a videotape of that, it's gotta be pretty embarrassing. Oh man. Elijah Wood can and may. That's cool. That's actually a really old reference if that's what it is. The first large role that I had in a film was a movie called Avalon. I was 8 years old. There's a whole sequence where the character that I played can't distinguish the difference between can and may. And he ends up like going to the principal's office because of it, or gets like sent out of class because he just can't understand the difference. So I can and I may. Maybe I can? Can Elijah Wood play the piano? I took lessons when I was young, like a lot of kids do, instead of reading the music, and I'd play from memory, which is cool, you know, a good thing sort of, but it was a really bad habit because I wouldn't necessarily remember everything correctly. I think I was like 13 or 14 and I quit. And then I ended up having to have like a crash course in playing piano for a movie called Grand Piano because the character that I played was an incredible pianist. I could play a little bit, but not to anywhere that degree. I didn't walk out of that knowing how to play any better necessarily, but I got really good at fitting my hands in the right place at the right time. It was fun. It was really, really scary. Can Elijah Wood drive a stick shift? I mean, I've done it twice for work, but they were crash courses, like, you've got to do this now for this scene. I mean, the last time I did it, I almost went out of gear and then very intensely put my foot on the accelerator, and I managed to successfully not hit anything and stop. I need to take lessons, because there's some really great cars that only drive stick, and I can't drive them. Does Elijah Wood have a personal life? Well, of course I do. I mean, I'm a record collector. I DJ from time to time, watching movies. My girlfriend and I, we had all of these movies that we'd never seen in this sort of collective shame list. Pretty significant films, like I'd never seen a Kurosawa film. So we thought, well, let's put together a film festival for us to catch up on these movies. And we'll invite friends. We did that. It was really fun. Does Elijah Wood age? Yeah, I do. I get asked this question a lot. I definitely age. I have gray hair. Maybe not as many wrinkles as one would have at 39. I don't know. It's all relative. Does Elijah Wood do magic tricks? I used to. When I was a kid, I learned a couple of card tricks that were relatively fun and somewhat easy, but I've since forgotten them. So no, I don't do any magic tricks. Does Elijah Wood have dichromatic eyes? No. No, they're both blue. Both the same shade of blue, I think. Does Elijah Wood wear wigs? In life, no. For work, occasionally. Okay, is Elijah Wood a twin? No. And not that I know of. Maybe there's like an unknown twin or a doppelganger out there. Is Elijah Wood a DJ? Yeah. I started sort of casually doing it way back in the Lord of the Rings days, and then officially sort of jumped into to records about, I guess, 10 years ago, maybe a little bit less. The thing about vinyl that's so exciting is that it is a physical object, so things can go wrong. And you have to be at the ready to fix that problem sonically. And so you're always on your toes. There's nothing lazy about it. It's very active. And I just love that. It's really fun. Is Elijah Wood vegan? No, man. I'm so sorry. Don't mean to be offensive to any vegans. I love food too much. But yeah, veganism is intense. I mean, you can't eat honey, for instance. Honey's delicious. Is Elijah Wood left-handed? No, I'm not left-handed. I'm right-handed. Which is a good thing, because I did fall on this particular hand, and it was out of commission for about 3 months. So that would have been a bummer if I was left-handed. Is Elijah Wood related to Evan Rachel Wood? I don't think we are related, but we could be related as far back to England. My heritage goes back to England and Ireland, and there's a good chance that hers could go back there as well, in which case, distantly, we could be. You never know. Elijah Wood is stealing your socks. Is that really something that someone wrote on Google? God, how do they know? I thought I was so discreet. Jesus. Is this the last board? Not the last board. Where is Elijah Wood today? Like right now, I'm doing this, so I'm here today. But when you watch this, I won't be here. I'll be somewhere else. I can't answer that question for you contextually based on where you are watching this now. I could be anywhere. I don't know. Oh man. Where did Elijah Wood grow up? I grew up in California. I was born in Iowa and moved to Los Angeles when I was 7. I've lived here ever since. Where did Elijah Wood go to college? I didn't go to college. My university time was taken up in Middle-earth. It was 4 years of my life was taken up making those films. I also don't know that I would have gone to university because I didn't graduate high school. Didn't even get the GED, which I often did think to do. Like, maybe I should just do this so I can graduate, and I didn't do it. That is not a good idea, though. Like, graduate high school. Don't follow in my footsteps. Graduate, please. Where does Elijah Wood live? I live in Southern California, and occasionally I live in Austin, Texas. Okay. Who does Elijah Wood look like? Apparently, a lot like Daniel Radcliffe, and occasionally like Tobey Maguire. Who are Elijah Wood's parents? My mom's name is Deborah, and my dad's name is Warren. That's them. Who is Elijah Wood in Sin City? I play Kevin in Sin City, who is a mute, very religiously fanatical, in a kind of questionable way, cannibal. Who is Elijah Wood married to? I'm not married yet. One day. Who did Elijah Wood voice in God of War? I'd completely forgotten I did a voice for that. Apparently Kratos' brother Demios. And I remember I was killed, and I get my head ripped off. I had to scream. That was, yeah, I vaguely remember that. That was so long ago. That's it.